Selamat Pagi and good morning. This is the 7th installment of the Selamat Pagi podcast. And today we are finally heading to Malaysia and Singapore. No longer will we be trapped inside the missionary training center, but we will see the world. And so, how it started was I got on an airplane. No, I'm just kidding. We got together in a big group. It was me, the Indonesians, or the Indonesian elders and sisters, and then it was one sister, Sister Wong, Elder Crowell, and Elder Pak. Sister Wong, Elder Crowell, and Elder Pak all spoke Chinese. I was the only Malay speaker, so I didn't meet them till the very end. But Elder Crowell was the leader. He was the group leader. And so I pretty much had to follow him. And so he was kind of responsible for getting our tickets and getting everything, getting us to the gate and whatnot. So it was kind of nice not to have that responsibility. But we got on a bus that took us to a train. We got on the train that took us to the airport, which then took us to Singapore. And we were in the airport, and I called my mother, I called my sister, I called my grandmother, I called a couple of my close friends. My father did not answer the phone, and so I called a different one of my friends, and then when I was on the phone with him, my father called me back, and I didn't actually get a chance to talk to my father, and I felt really bad about it. But that's okay. So I was talking on the phone with my friends and family. We got on another little shuttle that took us out to the plane, and I wrote down here in my journal that I did not realize how big LAX was until I saw the international side of the airport. So we took this little shuttle that took us out to this big Boeing 777 300, I believe, if I am not mistaken. Big Boeing 777, just this massive plane. We got on, and and well, before we got on the plane in the airport, I was watching the bags. All the Indonesians went to get food, and I was watching everyone's bags. And Elder Crowell and Elder Pack were supposed to be with me watching the bags, because you can't just leave your bags alone in an airport. Well, I went over to talk to this guy because, I'm a missionary. I went over and started talking to this guy. He turned out to be really nice. He was a Jew. He wasn't interested, but that's okay. Nice guy, totally supportive of what we were doing. And I come back to the bags, and Elder Crowell and Elder Pack are totally gone. And I was kind of ticked off because I was really hungry, and I wanted something to eat, but I couldn't leave the bags or they would get destroyed by airport security. And so I was kind of hacked off a little bit that they just totally ditched me. They show up, we're like seconds before it's time to board. So everyone's boarded. Now it's just like me and the senior couple, the Stevens, and the Indonesians, and I'm just waiting for the Elder Crowell and Elder Pack, who are just nowhere to be found. Finally, right at the last second, they show up and we get on. And the first thing Elder Crowell says to me is, "Oh, did you get food?" And I didn't even respond to him. I was so upset. I was thinking in my head, "No, I didn't get food, you dingus, because I freaking was watching these bags." But since I didn't respond, I think Elder Crowell kind of got the idea that I was upset. But I didn't want to be upset, and I didn't want to be angry and for lack of a better term, ruin things. So I just kept quiet, and I just didn't really talk to him. We got on the plane, we sat down. I'm still a little upset, and Elder Crowell turns to me and he goes, "Hey, do you want the rest of this?" And it was more than half of a sandwich that he had purchased that he didn't want to eat all of a sudden. And he gave me his sandwich, and I was able to eat it, and I was very grateful, and it was very kind of him. It was very kind of him, and I really appreciated that. And so that kind of, in a way, made up for the fact that they totally ditched me. But in the end of the day, it wasn't that big of a deal. Then we're on the plane, and I'm messing around with the little screen in front of my seat, and on the screen there's a little app that lets you learn all kinds of languages, and there's one for Malay, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" So I started practicing Malay, and Elder Crowell turns to me, and he says, "Hey, Elder Wehrli, is Malay hard to learn?" And I tried to answer. I tried to answer by saying that me personally, as Jackson Wehrli, I can do everything. Like, I can do everything. Everything I try, I can do it. I just can't do it really, really well. So there's nothing that I'm really, really good at, but I can do a lot of things kind of okay. I guess a good way to put it is I pick up on things pretty quickly, but I have a tough time mastering them because I move to the next thing. Well, so I was trying to explain that to him, and I've talked to him, years later since, and what he got out of my response was when he said, "Hey, is Malay hard to learn?" He remembers that I said, "No, pretty much anything I do, I'm good at." and so needless to say, he thought I was really prideful, and I was totally prideful, but it was just a very funny response, and is a very funny memory that he remembers me just being totally. I remember trying to explain it humbly, but that's apparently not at all how it ended. The plane ride over was on Cathay Pacific. It was a great airline. I would highly recommend it. And there was this button that you'd press, and a nice Asian lady would come over, and I would say, "1 cup of noodles, please," and she'd come back with noodles. There was this free noodle button, and every time I pressed the noodle button, I got noodles. It was great, the whole ride over there. And one of the things I noticed about my journal entry from that plane ride over was that it was very calm. It was a calm plane ride. It was quiet, and it was calm. And what I had done was I had set my watch to Singapore time, so I was living off of Singapore time, and hopefully that was going to adjust me to the jet lag, which we would later find out. It totally did help me adjust to the jet lag quite well. But on the plane ride, I was super tired because I had to pull an all-nighter according to Colorado time. But according to Singapore time, I couldn't go to bed until 9 o'clock. And so, as a matter of fact, we flew past the international date line, and went from November 6th to November 8th instantly. And so I never experienced November 7th ever. Quite incredible. But yeah, I never experienced November 7th. It was November 8th. And that, we landed in Hong Kong. We said goodbye to my Indonesian friends. They went to Indonesia, and me, Elder Crowell, Elder Pack, and Sister Wong got on a plane and flew down from Hong Kong to Singapore. And this is where the adventure really starts. Now I'm in Singapore. We land, and we will discuss what happened when I land in the next podcast. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.